Lexington Avenue and East 42nd Street. Another night in New York City. Obviously some kind of a emergency going on here. Of course, nobody knows what the emergency is and no explanations are being provided. There's fire department vehicles here, but I don't see any evidence of any fire. Well, walking east on East 42nd Street. Where there are more emergency vehicles dealing with some kind of emergency, the details of which are unknown to me. Third Avenue. An interesting thing about New York is there's an inverse relationship between the spectacular beauty of its skyline as seen from afar and the griminess of the city at street level. New York City is like a creature that is operating on automatic pilot. No brain, just autonomous nervous functioning. That's New York. New York City has a local government that, and this is sad to say, is legendary for its incompetence and its utter inability to deliver services in an efficient and effective manner. And that's a fact. Why that is, it's a matter of speculation. Oh, here we have some street work going on. Maybe not. And any rate, okay. Oh, there is street work on. Oh, open manhole cover. Nobody's doing any work. Okay. So let's walk here. Walking east on East 41st Street. Nice and quiet here. Very few people. This is a commercial area. This area, very few people actually reside except for street people. They reside in the street. This is Tunnel Exit Street. Right now, not very busy. During the day, busy. Now, right now, if you're watching this video, you would say, you might conclude, boy, New York really is a quiet, peaceful place. Well, don't be fooled by this. This city percolates with activity. Some of which is good, some of which is not so good. This city has a major crime problem. There's a proliferation of street people. There's been an erosion and a break in law and order. The police do much less patrolling than they have in the past. In fact, sometimes you can go for a long time and never see a police car patrolling the street. Okay, now we're walking south, Tunnel Exit Street. People actually live in this area. Amazing as it may seem, the people live almost just about anywhere in New York City. They live over restaurants, over garbage dumps, over parks, over schools, next to these same places. The people in New York City put up with stuff that in any other community, people would be literally up in arms. But New York City, it's a high level of tolerance. One of the reasons for that is that New York City has a very transient population. there aren't too many families moving here. People move to New York are transient. One of the reasons for that is the economics. The New York City housing market is very expensive. Perhaps the most expensive housing market in the world. And this is the case despite the fact that there's millions or even tens of millions of vacant real estate in New York City. Entire buildings are vacant in New York City. And this, despite the fact, this meaning, the high cost of real estate and rent, this despite the fact that the conditions in New York City are eroding. That does not even put a dent in the cost of real estate, which suggests that the price of real estate is being influenced by factors that have nothing to do with the free market forces. New York City probably has tens of thousands of empty storefronts. According to reports, hundreds of thousands of people have migrated out of New York over the past few years. I say that again, hundreds of thousands. The population of New York City in relationship to the rest of the United States is dropping. In absolute terms, New York is still gaining population. In relative terms, New York City has a lower percentage of the population than it has in years past. Which means the city, basically, on a macro basis, is really not growing anymore. Well, it's growing very little. But one of the features of New York City that I believe keeps people in the city is the continuation of rent control. If rent control was removed from New York City, either the cost of rents would drop all the way down, practically maybe to zero, because there's so much vacant real estate in this city, but more likely would skyrocket as those persons and institutions who control real estate in New York City would take action to make sure that their industry does not go under. Of course, this is all speculation, but I mean speculation based on some known facts. So now we've reached 2nd Avenue, East 37th Street. Now we're going to walk south on 2nd Avenue. Now we're crossing the exit ramp for the Midtown Tunnel, which connects Midtown Manhattan with Queens. I understand that tunnel was opened up in 1940. Well, it was a tunnel that was needed, it was built, and it still functions. Of course, it's totally inadequate to deal with the volume of traffic that does not seem to be influenced, the level of which does not seem to be influenced by the price of gasoline. I am convinced that people in this country will pay anything to make sure that their automobiles are operating with gasoline. They'll pay anything. There isn't a price that's too high that they won't pay. Now, right now it's well past 11 p.m. So, and it's Tuesday, so the street is not as crowded as it would be, let's say, on a Friday or Saturday. It might interest you to know that among the many storefronts that have closed in this area have been several bars. And when a bar closes, that's a real sign of economic issues. It doesn't mean New York doesn't have a viable economy. It does. I mean, people go to work. It does generate jobs. But it's somewhat shaky. The economy, that is. It's a bad habit that some people have, including myself, to use pronouns instead of specifying what it is I'm referring to. You know, the it. You know, what the hell is it? Gotta be specific. Okay. Now, a big industry in this city is the food delivery industry, which employs probably thousands and tens of thousands of delivery persons. I would call them food delivery specialists. They used to be called delivery boys, but that's not a term that would be used today. And because of that industry, the bicycle industry is flourishing. By the way, this is East 34th Street and 2nd Avenue. The bicycle industry is flourishing. There's a pizza place that just opened. A deli used to be there. This is a salad place. Poca Mahi Fresca. A bank used to be here. Across the street there is the Armenian church. That's still an Armenian church. Hasn't been renovated into a condo complex. Now, the good thing about having this pizza place here is that it does provide a modicum of security with this light here. Oh, here's a homeless encampment. Some homeless person, a person's quote, reside, close quote here. Yeah, this is, the person actually lives in the street. Okay. And this is a construction site that for some reason has been inactive, I believe, for at least a year. At this location, it used to be like 5-story walk-up buildings, and they were torn down. Okay. Gotta be very careful when going around corners. You can never tell when a bicycle or some other contraption is coming your way on the sidewalk. This is a cafe bar used to be here. And before that, it used to be a deli. Here's a new deli that just opened up. Across the street is Dunkin' Donuts right now. The area is relatively quiet. Of course, you always had the street traffic. Like I said before, the price of gasoline does not affect the level of traffic. People are driving no matter how much they have to pay for gasoline. It's amazing. When people say, oh, the price of gasoline is too high. No, it isn't. People are paying. It's only too high when they can't pay or won't pay. Then it's too high. In fact, I believe the price of gasoline historically has been very low in the United States, perhaps too low as compared to what other people pay in other parts of the world. It's a truck making delivery, food, whatever. And here we are at East 32nd Street. Oh, there's an ambulance. Okay. And here's a bike person. Okay. Okay. This place used to be open at this time. Now it closes early. Another bar in the street closed up shop. The movie theater, the AMC movie theater, used to be very, very busy. It's not busy anymore. And there's some garbage on the street. This is scaffolding. This is East 32nd Street. And, I mean, this is 2nd Avenue between East 31st and East 32nd Street. Let's do a little more walking. Okay, this place used to be a bar. Now it's just a storefront. And now we're going East 31st Street. There's another deli. It's closed. That deli used to be open late. It's not open late anymore. I don't blame them. This is a high crime area. And I think at this point I will shut off the video.